ADR Networks presenta.
This is Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch.
And this is...
That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That
ADR Networks presenta.
This is Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch.
And this is...
on that foreign show.
Yo, what it do, people? Welcome to That Foreign Show. I'm Isaac Rakesh.
I'm Celestine Angel,
And
and we are
we
here
are
on ADR Networks, activating
your senses. Welcome to the show. It's Friday, 3 p.m. That Foreign Show.
Right.
All
So today for the Insider, we have a lot of interesting things to share.
Yeah,
I think we have three different things.
3 different things going on. And just to let you guys know, that Insider segment is a segment where we recommend certain things for you guys to check out. Could be an event. It could be something someone's selling, some cool stuff. And on today's episode, we got 3.
Okay. First and foremost, we are going to share the Feria del Mundo. So
Yes.
it's going to be a fair of different things from all over the world. There will be different food, the cultural stuff, and you're going to see all kinds of things from like stuff from Greece, Nepal,
Wow.
India. A lot of different countries are there.
So it's like World's Fair of the World, right? Feria del Mundo.
And it's happening from the 29th to the 1st of October. So if Arthur, if you could please put up the flyer, the very last one that I sent you. That one is the Feria del Mundo. It's held in central Tlalpan from 10 to 7 o'clock.
And 3 days.
Yes, 29:30 and the 1st of
October. Yes. So, World's Fair sounds really interesting. You said there's stuff from Nepal and some other spots as well.
Yes.
Different countries like that, right?
Yes. So, like when Arthur's ready to put up the flyer, we will go through that again. But there's just to quickly run through before our guest arrives. We also want to talk about a Jamaican restaurant.
Yes.
Sorry, actually, it's a catering service, and they sometimes have pop-ups. And we are also going to share about our show tomorrow, which is going to be at a major event for an esports collective. So that's all that. Let me just try to.
It's a collaboration with Illuminary and this esports collective. And we're going to get into the details of that in just a second, all right? Before that, I want to tell you guys a bit about Irie Eats, okay? It's, like we said, it's a catering service, okay? And it's they do large parties, small events, pop-ups, social events, business meetings, corporate functions, family dinners, holiday dinners, a la carte, dessert.
So we have already tried their food, and it's very good. There's curry, and we're from Asia, so like curry is definitely something that we know well.
So the curry was
on point.
Was on point.
Yeah, I mean, Isaac's Indian, so let's have him like and we did. I mean, because usually we don't eat that much meat, so we didn't try the jerk wings.
Jerk chicken, we didn't do that one.
But we went
for the vegan option.
Yeah, which was very good.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and but yeah, if you do eat chicken, like I think the jerk chicken is like the staple Jamaican dish.
Everybody talks about the jerk chicken, right? That's one of the things. Arthur, if you could put the poster up for Irie Eats as well, and also the Feria del Mundo before we go on to the third thing on the insider segment today. Jam-packed today. Today's
to the bathroom, like what's happening? I've disappeared.
Okay, well, if
so
we're running. We will go through these things again when the posters are put up, just so you guys don't get confused. Basically, Irie Eats is a catering service run by a couple of people from Jamaica. Original stuff. All right. So if you guys want them to run their event for you, the food side, you can just drop them a message. And we looking at their list of things that they actually do. It includes pop-ups as well. So for you creators out there, for you guys who trying to run your own brand and you need some support with food and catering, and you want something cool, Irie Eats, hit them up. Yeah.
So when the flyer comes up, if for some reason Arthur completely disappears and there's no flyers, we will put them up on our Facebook, Instagram, on the story in the story section, there is also in our Instagram like a highlights portion, especially for that insider. So
yes, so you guys can go check it out.
I'm gonna put it all there, and
that foreign show.
You can check it out. So. And then, like, it's nearly time for our guests. So,
well, let's tell them about the third event then. Own Your City. Now, this is an event that we are doing with an esports collective, and these guys are called Illicit. All right, so they have a team of gamers who do this professionally. All right, so they are professional gamers for the game Valorant.
Yes.
And they're having a tournament tomorrow, right? It's coming to like the finale, right? The finale part, and they're going to have this tournament run at the event, and this event is called Own Your City. All right. We're going to put the flyer up so you guys get all the details. There are lots of sponsors, and we're going to be doing the music, right? We're playing music. We're dropping some tracks. We're dropping some tracks that we did with Illicit. All right, and there's also
and our songs and also a couple of covers.
Yes.
And then DJ Ski, who has been on this program before, he's going to be spinning for the night. So it's like really exciting. There's also like, I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, but there's also street art, a showcase of graffiti, and the venue is really cool. There's like layers of levels and different things happening, so it's going to be very exciting. Anyway, our guest is here.
All right, our guest is here. So too bad we didn't get the pussy to put the posters up. We will put the posters up on our pages, right? So
yes, that Foreign Show is the name of our Instagram page. So
Okay, now let's do the posters, right, Arthur? So let's run the posters. Let's do the Feria del Mundo poster.
our guest is here, so and she's in good time.
Okay, so yes, Feria del Mundo. This is the first event that we were talking about, the World Fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we quickly run through it because guest is here, right?
Yes.
So yeah, basically here's all the information. It's going to be in Central de Laupan. And like a lot of different countries, a lot of different foods. It'll be very interesting to check out if you're free like next weekend.
Yes. Okay, so let's do the second poster, Arthur. Irie Eats.
All right. This is our event for tomorrow.
This is the third event. Own Your City. It's happening tomorrow. The doors open at 5 p.m. It's free entry, all right?
A lot of activities. So,
a lot of activities.
Yeah, just come through. You're going to have a great time. And it's at Lucena 34, Lucena 34, Juarez. So, convenient spot as well. Valet
parking as well. If you're driving, you can just come on down and use the valet parking. There's, like she said, a lot going on. There's graffiti. There's a dance party towards the end of the night. There's a Valorant tournament as well.
Yes.
There is music that we're gonna drop. A really cool place, a really cool kind of like house setup. One and all invited to come down. All right, Arthur, let's run the third poster before we get our guest who is eagerly waiting backstage. Irie Eats. Now, this is the catering service that we're talking about. You guys want food, some nice Jamaican original food.
So just the main thing for inquiries, you can just check here right now on this poster. The Instagram page is Irie Eats Catering.
Yes.
So yeah, that's all. And again, you can find this information on our Instagram page right after this episode. We will put it up.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Arthur. And
now we
have a special guest. All right, Luisa Velez is here on that foreign show. There she is, right there. How are you?
Luisa.
Hey, how are you? I'm so happy to see you again.
Same here.
Thank you so much for invitation and to share with you and for everyone to hear about our story. I'm really pleased. Thank you.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about introducing Tempeh to Mexico, all right?
Yeah,
and
that's the theme for this episode.
That's the theme. That's a very interesting theme for this episode. And it is about bringing Indonesia back home, all right? Back to Mexico, all right? Because Tempeh, as we are going to get into it, is something Indonesian.
Right. And the reason why Luisa is the expert at this is because she lived in Indonesia, and right now she is the person to go to for Tempeh in Mexico. correct?
That's correct. I mean,
Okay,
I've been sharing with Mexico the Tempeh for 20 years now, almost 19 years, 20 this year. So it's been a while. Yes.
Wow. Right. So and like just offhand, are you like one of the only suppliers of tempeh in Mexico City, or are there others?
I am the principal one, of course, because I started way back in time. There could be one or two more people who are I know, or three. One in Monterrey, I think, one in Merida, and one in Mexico City. But I think mine is very well known because of the high quality, especially because it's mine which Indonesian community choose, and they are the experts. They
okay,
are
talk that
the
talk.
ones who
Yes,
really know what tempeh it's tasty, right? So it's been mine which I feel very fortunate to be the chosen by them.
that sounds great. Okay,
Very
Luisa, let's
interesting.
kick things off first and foremost by telling everybody what is tempeh and why are we even talking about this? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So tempeh, it's a beautiful heritage from the nation Indonesia. It's a very old food which is made from soybean, which are the soybean, the beans which are boiled and then fermented with a specific mold that grows in Indonesia called Rhizopus oligosporus. So the combination and the fermentation of this bean with that mold creates like a patty, like a cake kind of piece, like a cheese
Mhm.
kind of square,
Like,
or yeah,
you're
like
right.
a,
Yeah.
that you can cut it in different ways, from strips or cubes or whatever shape you want to give it when you cut it, and then when you uh, cook it, the texture is very similar to chicken breast, that kind of texture. So the flavor, it's very neutral and very versatile, and then it can blend very well with any cuisine. Of course, this is an Indonesian food, so of course they have explored it for hundreds of years, right?
Yeah,
um,
can
but
imagine. Yeah.
basically it's that is the fermentation of soybean, which leads to a very high protein food, full of fiber and full of benefits because of the fermentation. So in a nutritional standpoint, I think it's the best soybean product that's there, along with natto, perhaps, which is another great fermentation. But or like
Wow.
in flavor and appearance, it's so beautiful and tasty that it can be used replacing meat for those who want to avoid meat or want to be eating healthier.
Yes,
Right.
the
So
texture is very like almost like a meat, right? Like, I mean, when we've tried it, it's like it feels. I mean, you can cut it like you said, it's like chicken breast, right?
yeah.
Exactly.
So like I'm also very interested to know like your attraction to it. You know, like being Mexican and then you went to Indonesia and you tried it and you found it so delicious. But
Right.
you
So
mentioned that it was neutral. It's like you mentioned that it's a neutral flavor,
yes,
but you found it very
super
good for you.
delicious.
Okay.
So when I went there, I went for studies. I had a scholarship from the government of Indonesia to study arts. I was in a dance scholarship, and the first time all the students from all around the world arrived to this, like a campus from a university, they had a buffet, and I saw something that looked very similar to a snack we have in Mexico, which is peanuts with caramel all together, and it looked exactly like that. So I thought it was peanuts when I saw it.
Oh
So
right,
I
yes.
I just took a little bit of that and veggies and rice and a little bit of everything. But when I tried it, it was not peanuts, and it didn't have any crispy texture, but instead like the chicken breast flavor. I mean, not flavor, the texture. Sorry.
Mhm.
But the flavor, the way they cooked it that time was fried with some marinade, like a salty garlic, coriander seed marinade, basic, and just deep
Okay.
fry. And then in Indonesia, normally you've been there, right? So
Oh,
food can be served just like room temperature. It doesn't have to be super hot all the time. So it was so delicious. I really like. I couldn't stop, like, like feeling amazing with the flavor. And I was asking the lady beside me, like, what is this? And she said tempeh, and I was like, my god, this is so good. And I went and took more. And since that day, all my stay in Indonesia, that all the months that I lived there, I used to have tempeh for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, along with everything else. But I couldn't live without it. So it was a pleasure kind of impact at the beginning that made me like really fall in love with this food.
so as a nutritionist, like what would you say like about tempeh? Because you've been eating it morning, noon, and night. So
Yeah, so by the time I was living in Indonesia, I was not yet a nutritionist. So when I came back to Mexico, that's when I studied nutrition here in the
okay. Mhm.
university. And of course, I was all the time thinking about tempeh and missing tempeh because there was no tempeh in Mexico. So that's when I started like, okay, let me research what science says about tempeh, and I want to see what's there. And that's when I realized that, oh my god, this is super healthy. This is such a fantastic food, and I'll explain why. So
Okay.
the fermentation by this mold, and I mean in general, all the fermentations, what they do is that the microorganisms that do the fermentation, mostly what they do is to break down the nutrients from long molecules or chains into smaller, like simpler pieces. In, like, for example, if protein is a whole thing, then if you cut it in parts, then you will get amino acids.
Right.
Same for carbohydrates. If you have a big chain, that's starch, but if you cut it in pieces, you can get like glucose and the tiny parts. So
Mhm.
in
Okay.
fermentations, the microorganisms, they will do that. So when we eat that, the food, then the nutrients are so readily available for our body, and already the process of kind of digestion has happened outside our body by them, that when we eat, it's so easy to digest. It's so
Mhm.
gentle with our gut, and it's so fast to absorb all the nutrients and all the benefits, that that's
Mm.
why fermented versions are always better than non-fermented versions. So in the case of tempeh, we can get more protein, more nutrients, more minerals in
Okay.
general, more than tofu, for example, which is great as well. But nutritionally, tempeh is superior thanks to
Yes.
that
Okay.
fermentation.
So it's definitely a power food for vegans, right?
Absolutely. And because of the texture, like chicken breast, for those who still miss, the chewing something similar or familiar to what they used to perhaps like, it's a very nice way to use this food to, like, as a transition into
Okay.
veganism. Not, I mean, not every vegan or plant-based person wants to taste something that resembles to meat, but some people which are trying, it could be very
Mhm.
useful for that transition.
Right. And on the side note, do you sell only to to like restaurants and stuff? Because like how about personal? We
Yeah,
would
yeah,
also
yeah.
like to
Personal
order.
consumption.
Of course. I mean, that's how I started selling. I mean, not selling, but sharing. That's the word that I use. It's about sharing.
Okay.
I was not coming from any business background. I come from a musician family, so yeah, business was not in my mindset very much at that time. But I always thought that I have to share this food. Like you have to try this food. I love it. Please, let's
Right.
cook it together, and I want to show you this food. So when I started sharing, how to say, I forgot the main idea.
So
Yeah, that I
you was
started
more of
with friends and their friends or my family, and
right.
I still keep a huge list of close customers who are just persons who want to get the tempeh from me. Of course, they have the options to get it from stores, but they choose to get it directly from me. So if you want tempeh, you can just contact me, and I'll be happy to share it with you.
Nice.
Thank you. Like
Yes.
definitely, it's good food for because we don't really eat so much meat, so that would be really great.
So it's pretty cool that you actually, as you are sharing this, about tempeh, you're actually kind of sharing also the nutrition aspect of it, right? With these people.
Yes. I always try to mention that, of course, because that's my expertise area, nutrients and how to balance and how this can be benefiting many people, especially because many problems that health problems that are there in society are
Mm-hmm.
coming from inflammation, and inflammation depends on our gut health. Now
Okay.
from 10 years till now, there's a lot of research and knowledge that was not there before about how important is our gut's health, our microbiome, and how to keep it healthy depends on many things that tempeh provides. Of course, other plants like veggies and fruits and high fiber legumes and whole foods, everything. But tempeh can give so much for the gut health that I really want to share with people how this food can be very beneficial in Indonesia and also in Japan. It's part of hospital food over there.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow. Okay.
there's also research that shows how in the Second World War the soldiers that were eating tempeh were healing faster, for example, because of
Wow.
the high nutrient density and the
Mm.
easiness for the body to digest it and recovery from
Mm.
injury or from poor health. So
Right.
it's fantastic option, I think.
So it's
What do you think about Yakult as like because it's similar, right? In but do you think it's as um, helpful to gut health and
Yeah, so there are two subjects here. One is probiotics, which are the microorganisms that become part of our, microbiome, and that
okay.
we eat or take through a supplement, right? It can be pills, it can be a powder that we dissolve, or it can be fermented foods like Yakult or sauerkraut or yogurt or
Kimchi.
many, yeah, kimchi, exactly. So
Mhm.
those are
Right.
the probiotics. That means the alive bacteria that will benefit our health. But
Mhm.
on the other hand, we also have prebiotics, which is the food that the bacteria like, the
Oh,
food
okay.
that they need to strive and keep alive inside our body and benefit
Okay.
us. So if we eat the bacteria, we eat the probiotics, we drink Yakult, but never eat fiber, then we will eat them, but they will not survive. So in
Okay.
order to have the full benefit, we need to have the bacteria coming inside,
Mm-hmm.
and also the fiber, the dietary fiber that will feed them. So
The
mostly
Wow.
we have to feed our bacteria to keep our health. Our health depends on them, not much on us. That's the
This
crazy
right.
is
part.
Right.
Yeah, this is very good information for me, and also I think for all the audience out there, because
Yeah.
I was reading in the foreign group chat,
Mhm.
and a lot of them complain like the stomach, every few months or so they're having problems, and I had the same. And then there's some people actually saying that they started taking probiotics like regularly, and then it's completely no longer an issue. So I tried doing Yakult,
Yeah.
but I still have stomach problems, so that's why I'm asking you right now.
Yes. You can keep on taking for a while. Not only Yakult, of course, is a good option. Also sauerkraut, also kimchi, for example. Those are really, really high in amount and quality of ecosystem of bacteria. But also remember to add fiber to your diet through veggies, to fruits, and high fiber proteins like tempeh, for example, and beans, lentils, chickpeas. All these legumes are the favorite food of the microbiome. So by doing the two of them, the probiotic and the fiber, you will get the higher benefit.
So, like in the case of tempeh, it already has the fiber, right? The fiber
Yes,
element to it.
exactly.
That's why.
It has a lot of fiber because it's made out of the whole seed, the whole bean.
Okay.
So it's a complete food. It's not, for example, in tofu, what you do is that you boil your soybean after soaking, and then you blend it, and then you separate the fiber, the material, and then just you keep the soy milk, and then from the soy milk you add a substance that will make it solid. But then you took all the fiber and more protein and many things away. That leads to get like a okra, it's called. In Japan they use it a lot, and they know how to do many things from okra, but you have removed like I don't know 50% of the material that was there before in that process. Instead, tempeh has the whole seed. It's like complete. It's like the whole,
How is it? What's the process of actually making the tempeh? Like, is it how do they get the bacteria to
How do they
to
ferment
grow?
it? Like many days?
Yeah.
You have to leave it.
So tempeh is like a kind of a 4-day process.
Okay.
First, you soak the soybean overnight so that it absorbs all the liquid, the water, and grows and hydrates, right? After you have boiled the soybean, what you do is you clean that soaking water, you wash it again, and then you boil the soybean. At that point, it's exactly like tofu, the process. But then what you do is that you mix it with this Rhizopus ologisporus mold, that then it will do the rest of the job, which is the fermentation, for 36 hours. And then it will grow. What happens is that it grows, and it has like roots that get inside into the seed, and there it puts the enzymes, the digestive enzymes, that will take the nutrients to grow itself. But in that process, those nutrients are liberated for us as well. So that takes 36 hours. And after that, you have just like a white cake kind of a, piece. And if you cut it, you can see all the seeds inside, surrounded by a white mycelium, which is this mold. So that's the general process.
Right. And do you source this ingredients locally, or is there stuff that you would definitely need to get from Indonesia?
So the mold, it has to be brought from Indonesia. So because that mold is not available here in Mexico, it doesn't grow here naturally. So it has to be from there. And and my other only ingredient, which is used, it's soybean. So I've been always focused on quality. And what happens is that Mexico has not been really like a top producer of soybean. It produces many other beautiful, amazing products, and veggies and avocado and many other things. But soybean has not been like one of the main crops. And mainly what happens is that soybean has been used for oil production, for cooking oil.
Yes.
And it doesn't
Yeah, we see
have
that.
so it doesn't have the profile that I'm interested in for protein. It has less protein and more oils, good for
Right.
oil production. And the other part is used for animal feed, because soybean is such a such a nutritious seed that they all use it a lot for growing animals for human consumption. So
Well, would the process be different if you use some other kind of have you experimented before with some other kind of grain or seed, like a legume or something?
yes.
Maybe for the mold.
Yeah, for the mold.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
one of these, like
I
the Indonesian
have
one, right?
exactly. There are a few other molds there, and different colors of these molds are like, could be orange, and there are different varieties. But and of course I have used other legumes, for example lentil, chickpea, peas, green peas, and fava beans. But what
Fava
happens
beans,
nutritionally, what happens is that because soybean has more protein, more natural oils, essential oils, and a little bit of starch, what happens is that after fermentation it gives you a great texture. But if you use the other legumes, which are more carbs, more like starch, some protein, and almost nothing of fat, the texture when you make tempeh with those is more mushy. It's more like potato, sweet, like a cooked potato, kind of dry, mushy texture that I don't like much. And also the flavor changes, so I don't like it much. It's possible you can add like amaranth, you can add like rice, other cereals, many things you can add. But I also feel that I am like a ambassador of Indonesian culture out abroad in
Yeah.
Indonesia, and I want to share what the real tempeh is, how it is in
Right.
Indonesia. I want to keep it pure. Many people
Right.
can do variations, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I want to show that this is a very old, traditional heritage food, and I want to keep it as pure as possible. That's why I just focus on soybean. Also because
Right.
nutritionally it's superior. So those are my reasons.
That's really cool. You want to keep that original culture kind of going, right? The kind of intention that they had.
Yeah. Plus, it's a heritage food,
Yeah.
so like keeping it authentic to the exact way it's made is part of the beauty of it. Yeah.
Part of doing it justice, right?
Yeah.
And plus, it goes so well with Indonesian food, like with the rice and with
So,
dishes.
do you make Indonesian food then? Since you know how to make tempeh.
Oh, well, that's the paradox part, because it's very hard to get Indonesian ingredients for cooking here in Mexico. Like there are some that are so hard to get. Only in USA you can get like I don't know, like spices from Indonesia. We have a much bigger Indian community, for example, so we can find any spice from India. Like black cardamom or like ajwain or very exotic kind of spices. It's now possible because there's huge amount of Indian people living in Mexico now. But Indonesian community is very small. So we don't have like an Indonesian grocery shop that will have all the spices that are really needed. And so it's not that easy to get. And for that reason, I haven't been able to cook many Indonesian dishes, but the basics I can, like sambal and nasi goreng and mie goreng, like all those basics are possible. But
I think that's all you need, right? The sambal, and you got the rice.
Yeah,
and then
sambal, rice,
use
and
them.
tempeh. That's it.
So okay, like now it's I think a good time to find out what your experience was like when you were in Indonesia. Like
Yes.
obviously you love the food,
Yeah.
and what were the people there like, and what was the cultural differences you noticed being Mexican over there? Yeah, interesting.
Please
Yeah,
tell us
Things.
about
so
that.
I feel that Indonesia is one of the places that I have been to, which I find it like super beautiful. Like I know my country is super beautiful. Mexico is really beautiful, but I find Indonesia even perhaps more beautiful because of many reasons. One is that they have kept their culture very, very strongly
Mm-hmm.
alive, even though they were colonized, but the culture was not really taken away from the people. So the language is still alive, the dances are there everywhere, the music, the gamelan, and all like
Yeah.
many traditions are very alive more than in Mexico. For here, for a Mexican, you have to go to a really remote village to find a ceremony happening that is like
Mm,
very special, but it's not. You are never going to see something like that in Mexico City, for example. Or we
right.
as Mexicans cannot access to Nahuatl language, for example. I
Yeah,
know
not so
few
easy,
words,
right?
but I cannot
Yeah.
speak Nahuatl. I was not taught at school
Mm,
anything. Instead, in Indonesia, they have kept it alive, and I found that so important as a culture. That was one of my favorite things. Then nature, it's amazing as well,
Yeah.
yeah,
and
beautiful.
the
Yeah.
cultural differences. Well, they are very friendly, just like Mexican people, very smiling and welcoming, and they love
Mm.
jokes and dance, and
Yeah.
like they are very relaxed and very, warm people.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's differences because we don't have Islam here, and we
Yeah.
are majority Islam there, so that will make it the twisting, right, the
Yeah.
Right.
different way. And
So like they are open and warm, but they have their own, because of religion, they have their own conservativeness of different topics,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. They are more conservative. But when I was living in Indonesia, I was in Bali. So Bali is an island of Hindu religion inside
Yeah.
a Muslim country.
Yeah.
And what I loved so much about them, that I try to make it part of my life, is the community approach to life. Like they do everything as a community, not as individuals. So they
Oh.
have this, I mean, if you've been to Bali, you'll see like these houses that where everyone gathers every evening for kids to learn dance or to learn
Wow.
music, and to make group decisions about ceremonies or plans for the neighborhood, and they will always work as a together as a
Units.
group.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
like
that,
a community unit, right? And I think we have a term
yes.
for that in Singapore. Like we call it a kampong style. And
Aha.
You
yeah,
know
it
Kampong, I'm
works.
sure you know
It's
that.
work.
Yeah.
And it's more than just about the living. It's like a feeling, a
Yeah, community
community.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about people come together. Like you say, they come to the main house to express, to dance, or even to eat. Together. It's like
Right.
a kampong style or community togetherness. And yeah, that's a really nice thing about Indonesia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really nice, very inspiring, and to see how they create things together. We have to. I want to take that from them, and that's why I do, Tempeh nutrition to help my community, not only selling,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
but
Right.
sharing the benefits and helping people about all the knowledge that is there right now through science, how we can improve our health, how can we
Mm.
have better
yeah.
quality of life, and I want to have an impact in my society in that
Right.
way.
And Luisa, did you find when you were in Indonesia that like Indonesian people could really resemble like the more indigenous looking people here, like in Mexico as well? Did you find they look alike?
Yes, very much. For example, Oaxaca kind of features, Oaxaca
Uh-huh.
people. I find it so close to Indonesian,
Yeah.
skin tone and features and the nose. So yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
so
that
true.
Mexico has a very ancient, back in time influence from Asia. I'm sure China, China, from people from
Hmm.
China or from somewhere in Asia came to Mexico because we have, Quetzalcoatl, the
Yeah.
our deity from, our ancient cultures is so much like a dragon from China or from many Asian
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of
cultures. So
similarities with like yeah.
Yeah, like the
yeah,
Quetzalcoatl you're saying is the feathered serpent, right? That flies, which is pretty much
exactly.
a dragon, right?
It's a dragon,
Yeah.
and if you see pyramids, there are faces like this, just like in Asian,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
stone sculptures, and I feel they are connected.
There's some connection, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when we arrived and then we saw like different Mexican people, and we were like, hey, they look completely Malay,
Yeah,
because in
Malay.
Singapore, we have a lot of Malay friends, and
Yeah,
yeah, Indonesians and Malays, they are the same race, right? Yeah, and then
exactly.
so we're like, wow, they look completely Malay. Then we were like, are they Malay? Are they Malay? But they're not. They're Mexicans.
Yeah, yeah, that's so interesting. And what actually brought, or why did you actually go to Indonesia in the first place? Maybe you want to tell us a bit about that story, Luisa?
Yeah, because because I come from a musician family. I was into. I saw a sign about workshops for art, which
Okay.
included dance and music. Like they brought its National Center of Arts, CNA, we call it here, CNA. They brought like artists from India, artists from Lebanon, artists from Indonesia, and I took all the classes and workshops from all
You
of
signed
them.
up for everything.
Yes, yes, because I
Okay.
love Asia. I love culture. I love music, dance, everything.
Nice.
And then when at the end, after the 1 week workshop, we presented what we learned, and of course the professional dancers were going to present their show. And when I saw Balinese dance and also Japanese dance, but mostly Balinese dance, like it made such an impact. Like it gave me goosebumps, and
Wow.
I cried. I couldn't understand why what I was feeling, but something really strong shocked me inside, and made me feel so many emotions, and I just felt like this is incredible. This was the first time I could see something similar to that. And after that, the classes, there was a Mexican lady that she's like a dance diaspora of Indonesia. Her name is Graciela Lopez. She's top level quality dancer, and she has been doing what I've been doing with Tempeh, but through dance in Mexico for
Mm.
many years as well. And so she started teaching me dance because I felt interested in learning. That's when she said that, why don't you apply for a scholarship? Indonesia is giving
Wow.
scholarships. And that's how I got my scholarship in the first place.
Oh, very interesting.
So
I believe you
dance
shared with us. Yeah.
so
Yes.
dance took me to Tempe in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
from
Wow.
an like artistic background, and like even right now the way you're doing your tempeh business is also with the artistic flair.
Yeah,
So yeah,
with the kind
that's
of
what would draw you basically. Yeah, I can see that.
yeah. So like the essence of what the culture is in your opinion, I mean, tempeh kind of really represents that, right? Like it kind of represents like everything good about that, yeah, about Indonesian culture in a way, right?
Yes, I mean, it's one of the best foods from the world. Like it has so much potential, for example, for helping undernutrition kids, to go out from, under malnourished people, and it can do so much for society, this food. Like when I want to, for example, when I'm bigger, I want to donate tempeh for example, for kids schools, or for kids without homes, like where they don't have parents, they live in a special house, or
Okay.
for elderly people who cannot chew anymore because they don't have the good teeth, so they can eat tempeh and improve their quality of life. So it can give so much
Right.
for society, and I really think that there's so much potential in tempeh, and I always promote this as a Indonesian food.
Yeah, it's really amazing how much you believe in the food, in this food that you are sharing, because you're also a nutritionist, and then you also lived in Indonesia, and you find this so beneficial for your community here. So,
Yes, and the feeling is really coming across. I mean, even from our first meeting. Let me ask you
that
this.
you are passionate about it, right? Yeah.
Yes, that you're passionate about this, and like the way you phrased it, you say you believe that it's one of the top foods in the world. And let me ask you this about storage of the tempeh, because you mentioned that at some point you want to get into giving tempeh away to people who are less fortunate. Do you
Yes.
need to refrigerate it, or how long can you keep it in storage before
The
you eat it?
fridge or
Sure. So because tempeh is a fermented food which is alive, then the more days that go on, the mold will keep on fermentating, and the flavor will be stronger and stronger because it's a natural process, right? So
Right.
what I want to do, what I do is to keep it alive and use the freezer, like the frozen kind of way to storage, tempeh,
Okay.
so that it doesn't need like any chemicals, any additives or anything for it to last long. It can last from 3 to 6 months in the freezer, and
wow,
you need to thaw and you can
that's a
use
long
it.
time.
Yes, it's a
Wow.
long
Okay.
time.
That's
In
pretty cool.
That's
Indonesia, of
pretty
course,
cool.
they make it every day and people go and get fresh tempeh every day,
Fresh
right?
tempeh.
Yeah.
But for me to make it possible is very difficult to do it every day,
Mm-hmm.
so I make 2 times per week and then I freeze it, and then it's enough for survival, of the product for a long time.
Right.
Let me ask you this, Luisa, also about you mentioned about gut health, and you said in the recent recent years, there's been more and more information about gut health.
Yeah.
And can you talk to us a bit about that? Like how can because we've heard a lot of people who come to Mexico, or even if they go to other countries where they're not so used to the water, they're not so used to the food and
The
stuff like that.
changes.
Yeah, do you have any recommendations for people like that on how they
Yes.
can improve their gut health? Like how they can get to a better place where they can be more in harmony with what they are consuming.
Yes, for sure.
Like, I mean, mm,
Yes, sorry,
maybe.
can you listen?
Yeah, yes, I
Yes.
can hear
Yeah,
you
we
now.
can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you all along actually.
Yeah. The,
Okay,
the,
yeah, it
yeah,
got a little bit
maybe
choppy, but it's fine now. Sorry.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
as a nutritionist to like maybe something that's like foods that are easily accessible in like Aurora or the Walmart or something like.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. What can they?
Yeah,
What can
so
they? How they can improve? Yeah.
right, that's a very good question, especially for people from more developed kind of like so-called countries, right, where
Mhm.
everything is so sterile and clean and everything, and then when they come to Mexico they get sick often, they have tummy problems, diarrhea, stuff like that, because
Right.
they are
Yes,
not used
here.
to the level of bacteria that we as Mexicans are used to. So one thing is that with time it will improve. Like your gut bacteria will need to adjust to the new elements and veggies and level of bacteria for them to you know to get used to that. So it's a matter of time in one
Okay.
way, and allow the immune system to become strong, because that happens, for example, with kids, right, babies. If parents do not allow them to play with soil right, in a garden or with pets, for example, and they are just in a clean bubble, they get sick easily. But if they are in touch with all this dirt or bacteria, then the body gets antibodies and immune system fights, and it becomes stronger and wider in possibilities of fighting different kinds of bacteria or virus or
Right. Like they're more
fungus.
at one with the environment, right?
Exactly. So that I would say it's a matter of time. And on the other hand, using probiotics is a very good way to make our gut system stronger, as we were saying before. So Yakult and sauerkraut and kimchi and other fermented foods, if you take them regularly, you will help the immune system to work more. And also, there are many foods that improve the immune system strongly. For example, oats. They have a kind of fiber called beta glucan. If you later you want to research beta glucan, that is a kind of fiber that will stimulate our immune system, and it will make it like super ready to defend from the body from outside, you know how do you say, threats.
Attacks even. Right. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So
That is so
oats
interesting.
is a great food for immune system. Oats is very good. They actually use that beta glucan fiber for kids formula, or for feeding formula for them, so that their immune system is it's much better. And it came from oats, for example.
Right.
Mostly
Yeah, we love oats.
fruits
Yeah.
fruits and veggies and plant foods will improve our health in every possible way, and having variety of those is the best. We should go through the year with the seasons, like, okay, summer, then the produce are special, and then each season it changes. That's why what we have to be eating a variety of colors each day, like they could say, right?
Right.
A rainbow every day. So by eating a variety of fruits and veggies of many colors, we will strengthen our immune system. Then with time and with the help of probiotics, then our resistance to living in a place like Mexico will be just like a Mexican. You just have to get used to it. But I know that it could be difficult at the beginning, and a struggle for many foreigners. So that's what they can try to do.
Those are great tips.
Yeah, like super
Yeah.
helpful to know all these things. Yeah. And like, I'm also very interested to hear more about your experiences back when you were living in Indonesia, like in terms of growing as a person, just having more awareness living overseas, and those kind of things. Like, do you have any thoughts to share?
Well,
It's the last minute for your information.
okay. So, well,
Final thoughts, yeah.
Final thoughts,
every
yes.
country, every place in the world has so much to learn from, and especially when we are these are like very ancient cultures, like not new, right? They have thousands and thousands of civilization, or blends of civilization, like Indonesia, which is a blend from China, from India, from Australia, and all that together. It's what we say Indonesia today. So there's so much wisdom there that there's so much to learn. For example, the community approach was one of the most important things I learned from there and tried to acquire in my life. And also, I think that they have a very special sensitivity for art. So their houses and their places are so aesthetic and so pleasing and so careful with nature as well, at least in Bali, for example, that I was amazed how well they keep and take care of nature over there, because there's a sense of spirituality and ritual and care for others, for nature. It's like a whole oneness that I could feel over there. That was very special, especially coming from a very individualistic culture that could be more Western kind, like Mexico or USA. Like we are much having a lot of influence from USA. So that was something that was very special from Indonesia as a foreigner.
So you would recommend people go check out Indonesia for sure?
Of course. It's like a one of a kind Indonesia. Beautiful. It has nature, it has art, it has food. Imagine it's 17,000 islands.
Wow,
How much we can
17,000
see there?
islands.
Like it's 17,000 islands.
Yeah, it's like, and no matter what, travel and open the mind, right? Yeah. So like definitely it's good for advice for anyone, right? To see.
Yeah. I mean,
thank you so much for joining us here today, Luisa. We've learned a lot from you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure to share. And if you or your community wish to, ask any question or be in touch, just let me know. I'll be happy to help you go transition into Mexican, environment through nutrition, so that it's not that difficult for all of you.
Okay.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. If you have anything you want to find out, or if you want to get some tempeh, even you can contact us and we'll get you in touch with Luisa.
Yes, and also I think we get her Instagram page already.
Yes.
If not, you'll see it on the Facebook link. And I'm Celestine Angel.
I'm Isaac Rakesh.
And we have Luisa Velez with us, and we're signing out. Peace. Thank you very much for the show.
Bye.
Thank you to all who joined us here on That Foreign Show. It's been awesome. I'm Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch, and we'll see you next Friday.